South Africa and Japan this weekend, folks. Rassie up against Eddie. It is I don't want to call it a rivalry, but two of rugby's kind of more interesting character coaches in terms of guys I like to listen to both their press conferences. They're both guys who are not sometimes afraid to say what's on their mind. It's number 1 in the world up against number 13. So South Africa's pretty massive favourites for this one. Is it at Wembley, which makes it a little bit different from usual? But yeah, the squads have been named. There are some interesting picks from both sides. We'll go through them, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. South Africa, number 1 in the world, coming off that Rugby Championship campaign victory, have named a very, very strong side. Rassie has essentially said they wanted to organise this game to give some of the Japanese-based players a bit more game time. And that's reflected in the selection. The big calls you feel like are Porthen to get his debut at tight head. So he's gone from he's not even been in the squad to being a starting Springbok. That is a massive, massive call. Although Rassie did give his reasoning, which I love about. Again, his press conferences, he's pretty open about it. He said, Thomas du Toit is not available because of the club commitments, and he wanted to keep the 3 Bulls guys together on the bench. And he wanted to start Zach alongside a couple of veterans and Malcolm Marx and Oxenche. And he wanted to start him because he figures, hey, if things aren't going right, then we can make the change rather than chuck him in the deep end. I mean, I guess in the unlikely event that the game is close at the end, you wouldn't want to be chucking a guy in for his debut. You want him to start, have a run, and then if things need to be changed, you've got that option up your sleeve. So the logic is there, but it's still going to be a massive occasion for Zach Porthen, so big congratulations to him. And as I said, he's got 2 veterans in the front row alongside him. I'm sure he'll go fine. Snyman and Diacha is a bit of a changed lock and duo, but pretty exciting. You're going to love seeing the Japanese guys trying to get their mitts on Snyman as he frees the arms in the tackle, and you would imagine Diacha is probably going to be the number 1 target at line-out time. Kolisi, Mostert, and Wiese is a bit of a change back row. Mostert being in the back row instead of the locks. He's likely to be, I guess, depending on how many minutes he plays, probably one of the box top tacklers, because that is what he does. Doesn't get the credit for it because it's not as sexy as an Ach Snyman offload, but is equally important for the game, and he's also a very good line-out option. Kolisi captains. Wiese will be looking to make those big carries up the guts from number 8. Reinach and Ngomazulu is still that 9-10 combo, so pretty much steady. And Ngomazulu, he's been the star. He's been the star of the show for a wee while, but you feel like in that Rugby Championship campaign has taken his game to a level higher than we've previously seen. The potential has always been there. The potential seems to be becoming reality. He's still a very young man, still got a lot of development to go, but it's pleasing to see. I mean, just look at his stats. Defenders beaten, run meters, and just such a hard guy to control. At 10 for the box, he gets a game. Dale Indy and Creel continue their very long combo in the midfield. So that's what I'm talking about again, about the Japanese-based guys who are experienced getting game time. Great to see Kurtley Arendse back after missing a fair bit of rugby with injury. Ethan Hooker shifts to the right wing because Kurtley's back on the left. And then Cheslin Colby's move to fullback is potentially one of the other bigger talking points about the squad. But he's played international rugby at fullback before. He's played a heck of a lot of club rugby at fullback before. So it is not exactly a earth-shattering one to see Colby at fullback, but it is, he's more of a winger than he is a fullback for the Springboks. So it is a bit of a surprise, but again, not that out there. And imagine what that guy's going to do with that bit of extra space. If you kick him ball, you better look out because you got to tackle him and he's going to have a bit of a run-up heading at you. For the bench, it is those Bulls guys, Grobelaar, Steenekamp, and Lowe as the front row replacements. So they'll be looking to get that kind of bomb squad effect. Look at them to come on as a scrum is about to be set or as a maul attacking line-out is about to be set. Potentially Nokia is there as your lock replacements. And then there's some interesting stuff with the bench numbers because Andre Esterhuizen is named in the 20 jumper, which is usually your replacement loose forward. And then Quagga Smith is in 21, which is either your extra loose forward if you go in 6-2 split or your halfback if you go in 5-3. So is this a 6-2 or a 5-3? You can't really tell because Grant Williams and Manny Libbok are your 2 specialist backs. Esterhuizen is either a flanker or a centre. I guess it depends on what they need. He has played a little bit of flank in this campaign, and Rassie has kind of talked about him as being that option at loose forward cover. It is something they are looking to do with him. That they did it against the Barbars with Andre, they did it against Italy with Andre. So the fact that he's got the 20 number on his back leads me to believe they would like to bring him on the flank rather than in the backs. But I guess we will kind of have to wait and see. For the Japanese side, remember they played Australia a week ago in the pouring rain over in Japan, and they did pretty well. The Japanese side was playing a much changed Aussie side. It wasn't the Aussies' full strength side because Joe Schmidt was kind of resting a few guys before heading off to Europe, but they still did pretty well. The Japanese guys, they defended like demons, which was something pleasing to see because it's been a little bit of an area of concern from the end of their Pacific Nations Cup campaign. They've gone with a very stable squad though. Kobayashi, Sato, and Takeuchi. There's only one change in the front row. I haven't seen it confirmed yet, but I'm assuming Hayate Era, the starting hooker, is injured because he was like one of their top ball carriers, one of their top tacklers, top turnover merchants. I can't see a reason he wouldn't be there if he's fit. But the replacement guy, Sato, he's promoted to the starting lineup. We'll have to wait and see. Cornelson, 23 tackles against the Aussies. He's going to have to do something similar against the Box, you would imagine. And then Warner Durns, if you haven't seen him, if you don't watch Japanese rugby at all, he's a big, rangy lock. Loves getting himself into a bit of space. Really good option at line-out time. He is certainly a guy to look out for and disruptive on opposition line-out as well. He's got his work cut out for him up against Snyman, Mostert, and Diacha, but he'll give it a crack. And then the back row is Gunter, Shimokawa, and Leach. Leach was rolling back the years in the game last week. He's changed his role a little bit. He was really physical and really getting over the ball. Like there was at least one occasion where the Aussies were hammering the Japanese line from 5 meters out, couldn't get anywhere. They passed it out to the backs, and Leach was immediately snaffling a turnover, so he'll be looking to do that. Gunter was getting in there with the dominant tackles as well. Fujiwara and Lee are the 9-10 combo. They kick more off 9 than off 10. Do the Japanese usually? We'll see if they do that against the Box or not. And Lee, in a lot of games, has been quite happy to slot 3s. But again, we'll see how the scoreline goes, whether they need to chase the game or whether they're looking to kind of put pressure on the Box with some scoreboard pressure if given the chance. Lawrence comes in at 12. Riley is there at 13. Riley is a really silky runner, so look out for him. Ishida, likewise, last week beat a few tackles and was one of the top run meter guys on the right wing. Osada's still there on the left wing, and Yazaki is there at fullback. The university guy, not even a professional rugby player yet, but he gets to play the Box after playing the Wallabies a week before. They've made one change on the bench to the front row as Hirao comes in as a replacement hooker, as I mentioned, with Era being out. Iwahara, Tamafusa stay on. Tyler Paul, South Africa fans probably familiar with him, got his debut for Japan last week. He's your lock replacement. Makisi, hard-carrying Lucy, Tongan-born, I think, to come off the bench, probably replaces Leach, who might not go the 80. Fukuda, Green, and then Costly. So it's essentially a 6-2 split for the Japanese as well, because Costly, despite being in the 23 jumper, is a forward to come off the bench. So Eddie, I guess, is figuring it's going to be a physical one up against the Box. He's probably not wrong. Stats-wise, South Africa this year, they've dominated the possession. They've dominated the territory in pretty much every game. At worst, for South Africa, it's usually 50%. They're usually at evens. They're averaging almost 6 tries a game, and discipline's been pretty good. Fewer than about 10 penalties conceded per game, which is, again, that marker you want to be 10 or below. You want to try and keep it in single digits, penalties conceded. The games where they've lost have usually had something go wrong, like at Ellis Park. Their line-out was not particularly good, and the Aussies were able to get a lot of line breaks against them, which is unusual. Their meters per carry at Eden Park was their lowest in 2025. Like, the Box are usually very good at getting over the advantage line, but that was their lowest game of 2025. So usually something's gone wrong with the Box performance when they've not played at their best. But when it's clicked, it's been pretty devastating. Look at that second half at Eden Park. It's at Wellington, first half at Ellis Park kind of thing, first 20 minutes. You know what I mean? When it clicks, it's pretty hard to live with. For Japan, they have had a pretty solid set piece. Like the Pacific Nations Cup, their line-out percentage was like 90%, which is good. Their worst game was in the final against Fiji when it was 79, so they'll want it to be better than it was in that game, but usually it's been pretty solid. Like I said, Derns is really good at line-out time. They defended gallantly against the Wallabies last week, which was great because in the previous couple of games against Fiji and Tonga, they had missed a bunch of tackles, like 27 against Tonga and 28 against Fiji. Only missed 10 against the Wallabies last week, so it was a big improvement from them in that regard. They made over 200, which was more than they made in the Fiji and the Tonga games. So they were defending really, really well. They'll need to do that this week, but they dropped a lot of ball last week. It was wet, but they had 21 turnovers conceded, which is horrendous. But I think the forecast for London is a wee bit better, so fingers crossed they can keep their hands on the pill. If I'm not mistaken, they've only played the 3 times these teams. It was the 2015 win to Japan, and then 2 pretty comfortable wins. Rugby World Cup warm-up match, South Africa exercised some demons with that 41-7 win, and then quarterfinal 26-3. So the average score is 20 points to 9 to South Africa. They are massive favourites for this one, the Boks. 35 points, says the Rugby Forecast algorithm, and 37 points, say the bookies. They're not even taking money on South Africa just with the plain win. If you want to take money on South Africa, you've got to give them like a points disadvantage. Owen Cross, the Irishman, is the referee for this one. Should be a pretty interesting one. Eddie Jones factor, see if he's got anything up his sleeve. But yeah, with the Boks with that side are going to be a hard one to contain. If you're in the States and you want to check out some Autumn Nation Series matches, check out the link in the description to Flow Rugby. They are the broadcaster. They have this game, and check out the schedule for the other games they are showing. You guys take care. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. What do you think the margin is going to be? Can you see another miracle, or is it going to be the Boks by 10, 20, 30 or more? You guys take care, and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.